I made the same mistakes a lot of you made when you first started BJJ. I looked at the chart, I went to buy my first gi, and I ended up with an A4, which is a gi like this one. As you can see, this puts a whole new meaning into way too big. I actually look like I'm wearing a 70s suit. But I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to shop for a BJJ gi, and I didn't know anything about the sizes. So that's what I want to do with you today. I want you to avoid the same mistakes that I did. So if you keep listening to this video, I'll tell you exactly how you should shop for your very first BJJ gi. I'll tell you how you can go to this when you're shopping for your very own first BJJ gi, and how not to make the same mistakes that I did. The first thing to know is that every BJJ for adults is tagged with a system that goes from A00 to A5, and in certain rare circumstances, A6 and A7 for a lot bigger guys. This is just about the least reliable point that you can focus on, meaning that an A2 from one company can be totally different from an A2 from another company. So the standard of A1, A2, A3 sizing, and so forth is standard across pretty much all brands. They all use that tag, including ours at Stonebelt. But the dimension and the sizing of the specific gis and the models within the same brands sometimes will vary. So all of that depends on the branding that the company decides to do. So when you're looking at choosing your first gi, don't solely rely on that tag letter. It's not because you've tried an A2 from a buddy at the gym that a different A2 from a different brand is necessarily going to fit you. The thing you should be looking at is actually the sizing chart that the brand is going to provide to you. Any reputable brand is going to provide a sizing chart. Now, some of them give you more detail than others. A lot of brands will just give you height and weight as two of the basic measures that you can choose from when you're looking through a chart. So you're going to see, okay, what height am I, what weight am I, and then it's going to suggest to you a tag, either an A2 or an A3 or any of the alternate lengths. This is important, but a lot of company will also give you the specific dimensions, wingspans of the length of the hems of the arms and pants and waist, etc. They'll give you a lot more dimensions and details, and that's, I think, the most specific place you can go to see where you should be on the sizing spectrum. If you choose too big, you'll probably be too shallow, too loose in your gi, and it won't be comfortable. And if you go too low on the sizing chart, you'll be really tight and also uncomfortable. There's also going to be in-between lengths. Some companies will do 0.5s. Other companies will use tags such as H for Husky sizes and then L for long sizes. You'll find these in-between sizes for guys who are longer and leaner or a little shorter and chubbier, like I am. In my case, I wear an A2H. And in some companies, though, I will wear an A3H. So it really depends on the sizing of the company. To give you an idea of what you're going to be looking at when you're shopping, this here is an example of our gi chart for the Heritage Gi series. As you can see, we've put as much detail as we could for each category and their sizing and dimensions. Some of you might not even know how you're supposed to measure a gi to begin with. First, you're going to start by putting your gi flat on the floor or on a flat surface like a table. Once you've done that, you can see that this here from sleeve to sleeve is going to be your wingspan. And then from the top of the collar all the way to the bottom is going to be your length of the jacket. And then once it's laid flat and you close and you take the natural lines from one side of the chest to the other, you'll see that this right here, or the width of your jacket. Some companies will even go as far as telling you the hem opening. This is important, especially if you're doing IBJJF competition. You want to make sure that you have enough space in there so that they can put the instrument of measure that they use to calibrate the gis. And then for the pants, it's the same thing. You're going to lay your pants flat on the floor or on a table. You're going to measure from the bottom of the hem to the waist, and this is going to be the length of the pants. And then most companies will give you the waist, which is from one side to the other. And also, most companies will also give you the length of the pants of a single leg, which we could call the width. Some would also give you the hip, which is going to be a little bit lower than the waist here. Particularly useful if you have bigger hips and a smaller waist. So this is how you basically measure the lengths and dimensions of the jacket and pants when you're buying your first gi. And it's going to be by far the most precise way or method that you can do it so you don't get it wrong. Now, one more thing I didn't mention, and that's really important, is that you're going to want to check if your gi is pre-shrunk or if it's not, especially if it's 100% cotton. If it's an engineered blend like our heritage gi, it's a little less prone to shrinking, but still, if you wash it hot, it will shrink. So you need to carefully check the product specs of whichever gi brand you're buying. Most of them will tell you. If they don't, you probably should assume that it's not pre-shrunk. The pre-shrinking is basically just a washing method that the manufacturers do, which allows for the fabric to shrink to its normal size where it's most likely going to be stable. Cotton being a fabric, an organic fabric, if you wash it hot and you dry it hot and tumble dry it, it's going to shrink. And if it's 100% cotton and it hasn't been shrunk, it's gonna shrink a lot. So some brands out there, a lot of well-known brands, will tell you that their gis are not shrunk. You need to look at the dimensions, you need to look at the shrunk or pre-shrunk factor, and then once that is done, you can feel confident in ordering whichever size fits you best. But we all know in reality, some people will fall in between the cracks. Some of you will tend to fall like me. I'm a little bit bigger and I'm shorter, so I'm going to fall in the Husky sizes. And then some of you are going to be taller and leaner, and you're going to be wanting to see if those brands have long sizes so that the gi is not too loose for you, but that the sleeves are long enough. Those are all choices that you're going to need to look at. And if the brand doesn't offer it and you want a little bit looser fit, then just order a size up. If you want a more athletic fit, just order a size down. Now remember, with all of this, it's easier to shrink down a gi than it is to make it longer. So I recommend going a size up if you're going to be in between. Then at least you can shrink it down. So if you're looking to buy your very own first gi, I suggest you go take a look at our webpage at stonebelt.ca and look at the heritage gi. It's got detailed dimensions in the chart. It's a pre-shrunk fabric. It's an engineered blend, so it doesn't shrink too much on you. And it's a really durable piece of equipment. I hope this quick little guide helps you in choosing your very first gi. Whatever gi size you end up choosing, if it fits you, it's going to make the jiu-jitsu experience at the beginning of your journey a whole lot more enjoyable. Take care, guys.